Hi everyone, and today we're going to talk about the predictions based on astrology for the week of November 25, 2019. The two main influences that will be just sort of like a background influence for this week. One is the ongoing conjunction between Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, something that has been with us throughout the entire 2019 and will continue into 2020, and especially I would say look for major events, such as collapses of governments, leaders, earthquakes, some disasters that involve, again, collapsing of a tunnel, bridge, something like that in January. And I will have a separate video where I do some predictions for next year as well. And this week we do have this influence on as well. It's not as sort of bad as we had maybe June and in ongoing, I guess, in the future in January. But this week, the worst day for this would be the 29th. So intensification and various kind of geopolitical tensions, heightened probability of major sort of old leaders stepping aside or being removed, etc. Sort of tensions about someone's leadership. I guess Trump comes to mind. But I would say whatever the ongoing tensions, the peak, as far as the long-term peak, would be probably coming up still in January of next year. And so probably nothing, will be set in stone quite this week yet. Another important influence for this week will have to do with sort of all these domains of Neptune, and it will be somewhat similar to what we had the week of November 11. So increased news about wet weather, shipments of oils, chemical shipments or sales, or deals related to, like I said, oil, chemicals, maybe beverages, water in general, ships, boats, navy, and some sort of a deceptive activity. So maybe if we had maybe a negotiation and that negotiation needs to conclude, and for that some important information is needed, there may be again tendency with the parties involved to not provide all of the information, or someone's basically lie or deception may be revealed at this time. And of course the positive news would be that then there may be a final decision whether or not the deal is going to be made or not. So for the individual days of the week, as I mentioned in the previous video, I think on Monday the 25th is actually going to be a positive day with market going up, because most likely over the previous weekend there would have been some news coming out about some international deal, either on the diplomatic level or involving maybe a sale or acquisition, involving multiple sort of parties, most likely either international corporations or multiple governments. Some legal issues may have been resolved, and or a lot of money is spent that is benefiting multiple sort of sides, and things should proceed smoothly and benefit areas like immigration, long distance travel and transportation, and sort of just unite multiple international partners. So on those happy news, I think market will go up on Monday the 25th. And on Tuesday, the 26th, I think market will continue going up. And regardless of the direction, Tuesday may see a larger than usual direction. Larger than usual move, regardless of the direction. So on the November 26th and 27th, we may expect somewhat similar news than we had on the November 13th and 14th. And they may involve wet weather, perhaps excessively, wet and windy conditions. There also will be increased focus on sales, shipments, and value of oil, chemicals, transportation over water, navy, beverages, movies, video, pharma, drugs, pollution, poisons, religion, deceptive activities, or some lies, etc. So the news will likely be at this point positive, as in facilitating movements of these products. So if there is a shipment of such products or sales, these things may go through without delay or without kind of questions from the authorities. And there may also be some discoveries related to water, such as something that's discovered under sea, maybe like an old treasure or shipwreck, or because perhaps water brings those items to the shore and there's some discovery being made, or the discovery of how to use water differently or something like that. And similar news can be also in the areas that relate to all these other Neptunian domains I just mentioned. So maybe discovery related to chemicals, how to use some chemical differently, or how to derive a particular product from, say, coal, or how to apply a chemical to maybe strengthen, some metal or something like that, or create new composite or something like that. And also for like pharmaceuticals, boats, maybe a new drug is discovered or is now approved for sale, or is doing really well, sales more than expected, or maybe some shipment is now going through where previously it was delayed, now it can go through, and or literally sales of boats or something like that may be on the rise, or anything that can move over water. And on Wednesday, November 27th, I think the market will continue going up. And for US, on that day, we may expect increased probability of positive news about domains like law, legal issues, immigration, as well as individuals that relate, or individuals or businesses that relate to, like I said, legal area, as well as long distance shipments and transportation, international relations, tariffs, and just increased news about lawyers, judges, professors, businessmen who again are involved in international trade, etc. And there may be some action undertaken at this time that may result in improvements in those areas. Maybe some laws changed, or some obstacle is removed, and or literally some persons from these areas, individual judges, individual professors, or immigrants, or leaders in businesses that basically serve these areas, may receive either some help or increased earnings, or somehow they're able to basically perform their duties better than previously, because again, things just kind of more facilitated for them. And this could come again through some legal changes, perhaps some sort of a law that relates to immigration, or some sort of a temporary decision is made and it's helpful for those areas. And this action may involve some international organizations, so it's either US participating in multinational organizations, or perhaps some organizations within the US are, maybe they've been lobbying on behalf of certain groups, like I said, some illegal immigrants, and now it's succeeding and having some result. And or it may involve investments, loans, debt, results of some research, like I said, maybe into pharmaceuticals or something like that, or investigation into legality of some activities. So the decision may be perhaps made to grant, certain benefits to illegal immigrants, or assist them with transportation, or maybe, like I said, just some law is, or some decision is made on the level of government that for some reason it makes it easier to arrange, long distance transportation, for example, or even it could be related to higher education, so it's benefiting either professors or institutes of higher education somehow. And that's for the US for the 27th. The 28th, Thursday, is a holiday, so US markets will be closed. And then on 29th, Friday, I think the market will continue going up. And US, again, we'll see some important news at that time. And there may possibly be a new announcement about kind of a new goals, or reinforcement of the old goals and vision of the country, especially related to sort of their future dealings with international partners, as well as immigration, tariffs, shipments, and travel. So I guess import-export, immigration, and dealing with international partners. There may be an announcement about some new projects, or clarification or reinforcement of the old, vision in those areas. And to quickly kind of give you a glance ahead of the upcoming time in December. So for December 10th through 14th, 2019 look like important dates where we may expect increased focus on anything related to finance and earnings, profits, cash availability, and banks, and really any financial institutions, as well as rates, currencies, etc. There may be concerns at that time about the cash flow, followed by some decision where banks may receive support from the government. So there may be some potentially favorable legal change made, or some limitation removed, or some controls are removed, by the government or large corporations, where maybe they strike a large deal, and again, financial institution may benefit ultimately from it, but it could be made because, again, initially there will be concerns about either cash availability or basically savings or earnings, and so this governmental support may be necessary However, the support may be seen as excessive or lacking appropriate limits. So even generally, there may be increased news about either restructuring or controls at the level of government or large corporations. So it could be, financial restructuring at the bank, or that the banks are asked by government to do some restructuring because they found themselves in a position where perhaps they're lacking cash or something like that, and the government steps in to help, but then they're also being asked to do some restructuring at that time. And this may somehow be affecting areas, like I said, involving cash flow, as well as rates, loans, currencies. And there may also be at the same time increased news about cryptocurrencies, where their use or their value, especially internationally, may change, and most likely it will be an increase in value and expansion in use. And also at the same time, there may be increased focus on businesses and products related to steel, coal, oil, mining, so any of these commodities kind of that are excavated from the mountains, the ground, metals, etc. And the value of those commodities or profit from them may go up. And also in general, the 10th and 14th may also see increased market moves regardless of the direction. And my thinking as of this time is that the market will probably go down on the 10th, 11th, and 14th, but up on the 13th of December. I guess the 12th I skipped, so I'm not sure. So let's see. And another sort of a prediction for December that I'm just giving you a glance of right now that I quickly looked at is that the December 8th through 22nd may be a favorable time for businesses related to IT, telecoms, aerospace, electric power generation, or like businesses that basically rely on electric engines, electric cars, of course, batteries, as well as like high tech in general, innovation, all these technical gadgets, etc. So those businesses may receive substantial boost, where maybe they're allowed to kind of expand internationally more than they have before. There's some international sales, either of the companies, on the level of business to business, or perhaps of some products. Now these products are allowed to be sold overseas, or maybe parts for products may be allowed to be shipped internationally. Previously, perhaps there was a delay or, embargo or something like that. So these limitations at this time may be removed, and maybe the controls on those products or these businesses may be reduced such that they can be operating a little bit more freely. They receive a little bit more freedom, and or they receive more basically projects where they can participate with international partners and grow overseas. So good time for such products, and at the same time they may also come to sell. Maybe it's because of the holiday season. There may be greater than expected sales of such products. Like I said, IT, say computers, laptops, telephones, etc. And especially anything that's powered by electricity or is very complex, involves complex technology. At the same time, there may also be news about innovations on how to make those things kind of work better. And again, this will likely be due to improved opportunities for international collaboration and improved opportunity to kind of exchange either parts or products across borders. So that's it for me for this week, and I will then be posting new predictions probably in a few weeks, and then we'll get back to our weekly predictions. And I hope you enjoyed this, and come back and check me out later when I post the next video. Okay, catch you all guys later. Bye.